Mr. Laxman Basnet, please.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. Uh, I would like to just introduce myself for 1 minute. I'm the General Secretary from 2012 of this position. We have 6 countries in the region: India, Nepal, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and Afghanistan. Since Maldives and Bhutan doesn't have a union, a central union, so we don't have membership with that. This is and the idea of SARTUC is to create a affiliate to the SARC, country of nations. So for basically the migration, basically the migration from South Asia to Middle East and Malaysia. And our understanding is our countries are very weak in negotiating. So we have to negotiate with GCC countries together. And all these 6 countries are the largest bloc, sending contract workers to GCC, and Malaysia is the biggest in the world. But now we are talking about the brain drain, and this is a very, very opportune moment because COVID-19 has exposed so many issues to the world from all the angles. And one of the basic talked about discussion is around the press, around the intellectuals, around the academicians, that migration is not what we used to think when they saw the internal migration from India, walking almost 2,600 kilometers to the hometown, and from Nepal also, and from other countries also, internal migration, and desperately waiting for in Middle East and Americas and Europe that avalanche would come to the countries of destination. But in fact, what I see is the complete opposite now, that people are waiting in GCC countries and other places that what would be the new economic agenda after the COVID-19, which is called new contract or a new situation after the 19 contract. And what I think is the reason the brain drain will continue even during the COVID-19 to the developed countries is because of the condition in the country of origin and basically country of South Asia. The lack of institutional capacity to absorb highly educated people or even the low skilled workers from South Asia. The reason is there is no thought. The idea of working people is not a respected idea, a respected sense of feeling in the society, and only because of the COVID-19, we didn't realize they were in such a pain in our country and abroad. We have to do something for them. This idea came after the exposure of situation in the destination countries and destination places. Unfortunately, in the developed countries, people did not rush in such a way that which is visible in other part of the underdeveloped countries, because the government assured them, the employers assured them that we will take care of you in our places. You don't have to rush. You file an unemployment claims, and you will get whatever is due in your respective country, in the United States or Europe, or even in Japan and South Korea, Singapore, smaller countries, small economy. So that is very assuring to the migrant workers, those who go out, that okay. I just had a talk with my friends in the United States, and I said, okay, tell me how many people want to come back to the country. He said, we are, brother, we are about 400,000 Nepalese in the US, all around 400,000, excluding the students also. But only 670 people have asked them, filed the registration with the embassy. And even those 670 people are those who came to the United States to visit their diaspora, Nepali diaspora. Now we call it NRN, Nepalese migrant workers in the United States or all over. Just 670 people. Not many want to come back. Very few want to come back. Even I have a discussion with Japan, and they said, no, we don't want to come back. I mean, what is there to come back? And those who went to villages from India, big cities, from Mumbai or Delhi or bigger cities, they were forced to go there because they thought that we are kicked out of our house, and we will be left in streets, and we don't know what to do, who will feed us. I mean, and the relief given by the governments or the employers just closed their door. All of a sudden, they closed the door and said, okay, no, we don't want you, and you come back whenever the lockdown opens. And they were helpless. So they had to do everything what they could do in their own strength. This is a very eye-opening thing. I mean, we could have to save from COVID-19. We did for hand washing and the sanitization and distance. But what about the fallout of the COVID-19, the lockdown? They were not consulted. Okay, I mean, the workers, in South Asia, about almost 80 to 90% are from informal economy. They were not even consulted. They were not even told that tonight we will close our shutters down, and we don't know what will happen. They just, but those who had some protection from the employer, may that be government or the private sector, they did not rush. They did not rush to their pavilion or village. They did not rush. So this is the reason what I see, and I don't think the structural change in the governance will change overnight. I mean, there is no talk. I'm working in trade union, though I'm not a worker myself, but I'm working in trade union for last almost 30 years. I have not talked about how to develop employment in any countries around the South Asia. Not at all. No, there is no debate in parliament. There is no safety net discussion about the safety net. There is no discussion about the healthcare. The health ministry has been exposed all around South Asia.
So we have to wind up in 1 minute, sir, and we'll
thank you.
Get a second round later on.
In my opinion, I would like to say that I have seen in the airports that Bangladeshi is going to South America to enter into the US job market, or there are so many routes they have created. And when you ask, where do you want to go? They said, okay, I have an uncle in Venezuela from Bangladesh. So this is the reason we have to change our attitude. The governments have to change. I mean, in one way, you say the workers are the partners of the development, but those who work in the development partnership, they are not consulted at all. That what is your problem? This is what I would like to say, that given the opportunity, even there is no opportunity, migration will continue in different form, in student form, in visit visa forms, in all the forms. That's what I would like to submit,
Okay.
Professor Sir. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you, Mr. Basnet. I think the fact that you have mentioned about students not returning out of 4,000 students, 400,000 students, only 670 registered, that is something to be taken note of. And student migration was actually part of the brain drain, as students were, future workers. So that is very much, it's a good beginning that we start with this kind of a point that you have made. In fact, brain drain had started in 1960s, mainly from South Asia, of doctors to fill the vacuum of NHS, National Health Service in Great Britain, because Great Britain was losing its doctors to United States. And then it was a story that finally it was the United States which started attracting people from educated people from all over the world. And that was actually the brain drain, because the investment that was going into their education was not giving back to the countries of origin. And more than that, it was the skill. If they wanted doctors or engineers or nurses, then they were no longer available to them. And subsequently, of course, you find that, from those IT professionals, when they came, by turn of the century, the whole concept of brain drain was made to change into brain gain. And I thought that was ironical, because brain gain was itself the flip side of the brain drain when it took place. But when people started coming back after the recession, and they called it return migration and circular migration, and tried to convince the countries of origin that they are gaining them back. So that was the end of the brain drain, overtaken by brain gain. And then now we find that brain drain probably is likely to come back with COVID, particularly in the health sector. And I would like to draw your attention to the fact that when President Trump had suspended the green cards holders to come back to the United States, or new green cards, there was the exemption given to the health workers, to the doctors and nurses and so on. So that is an indication that the world will be after talent of a particular kind. The education fairs that we have experienced in South Asia to recruit, they call them recruitment of students. That's a Freudian slip. It's enrollment of students. It's not recruitment of students, but what they had in mind was the future workers, recruitment of future workers that was there. So I think probably you people can draw some you can address this issue, and how do you foresee that the future lies in terms of changing structure of demand for talented people? Is there going to be a talent war amongst countries? And I would just leave it there and